There you go. Okay, good morning. You are accepted into Kinder HSPVA, and that's the kind of good morning I got. Good morning! There we go. There we go. So I'm Mr. Klein. I'm the magnet coordinator here, and I've been working with a lot of you since about September with some of you. So it's really great to see so many familiar faces, and on behalf of everybody at Kinder HSPVA, we are so excited that you're going to be joining us next year. In fact, we will see you for the first day of school in 114 days. So we have a lot of important information that we're going to share for you, and I'm sure you'll still have questions after today, but we're going to try to answer as many possible for today. But the main reason you're here today is to choose your academic courses for next year. You will not leave this building until you have chosen your academic courses for next year. Things change a little bit, of course, and if you have schedule conflicts, you'll hear from us, or if you change your mind, there'll be time at the beginning of the school year to work that out. But the more we get done before the end of the school year, the better. So that's why we really need your help and make sure you're all going to select your courses, and we'll show you how to do that. We have a lot of HSPVA pride here, and one of them is our amazing Twitter account. And so I'm going to take a little video of you even more excited than the first time that I'm going to post to Twitter at HSPVA. And then if you have a Twitter, you are going to immediately follow us on Twitter and then retweet it. Okay, do we have a deal? Okay, so I'm going to count down, and then you are going to show me so much excitement that you're going to be joining us next year. You ready? 3, 2. Okay, thank you very much. Now, I'm going to introduce Travis Springfield, who's our Dean of Students, and he's going to take over from here. So thank you, Travis.
Hello. All right, so I'm going to talk you through a lot of the meat and business of what we have to accomplish today. And so I'm going to get right into it so we can get out there and let you visit with folks that you have questions for. So today is really about making the most of your Kinder High School HSPVA experience, really kind of giving some things to think about, food for thought as you transition. Many of you from middle school to high school. How many incoming 9th graders do we have out there? Lots, yes. How many incoming 10th graders do we have out there? Few. Any incoming juniors? Hey now, yeah, a few. Awesome. So most of you guys are moving into high school for the first time. And there's a lot of things you need to begin thinking about as you make this transition, because you're beginning to write the story that is going to be what college admissions reps read as you begin the college application process in about 3 years from the fall, because basically that's when that starts. And what you're doing right now is really beginning to build that resume of work. The resume of what you want to look like on paper is starting now, okay? And so that's really important for you to think about as you make decisions from here on out, alrighty? So part of that is what we're going to talk about. We're going to do your class selections. We're going to look at talking about balancing academic and art area commitments. There's a document that we're going to have you complete today called the PGP document, or at least begin that process. And that's required by the district in the state of Texas, and do some upcoming event reminders. So how do you make the most of your journey in high school? Really, it's about looking at 4 components. The things that you do as you move through high school over the next 3 or 4 years is really about your academics, your art area commitments, your extracurricular activities, and your community service. That's really the components that you're building in a resume, which is what we're about here. We're about building a body of work. A body of work that can be, that says who you are, a body of work that can be seen by an admissions rep or by an auditioner at a college or a conservatory. That's what we want you to begin thinking about. And so in academics, what you want to do is take the most challenging courses available to you in which you can be successful. Okay, that's the key thing. It's not about loading up with a bunch of classes that you think look good on a transcript. It's about loading up a bunch of classes that look good on a transcript that you can do really well in, right? It's simply having an honors level pre-AP or AP class on your transcript but not doing well in that class does not do you any service. Really, it's about that balancing the kinds of classes you're taking so that you put your best foot forward, challenge yourself, but also perform well in the end, okay? So those are some things to think about as we go through course selection today. Your art area, you're here because you are talented in at least one thing, probably in multiple things, but you got in for one, right? And that thing that you're developing is another big part of who you are, and it's a big part of what you want to continue to develop. Simply because you got in today doesn't mean the work stops, all right? You got in because you have something, you have some kind of gem, some kind of fire, and that's what we want to cultivate and grow. And it's important over the next 4 years that you take advantage of every opportunity that you have available to you. You take those small roles, those opportunities to work backstage, those opportunities to volunteer, whatever around your art area, take that extra class after school or do whatever to grow your body of work and your skills in your art area. And that starts now as well. And it's not just about what you do in your classes during the day. So be thinking about opportunities where you can build and grow as an artist. Extracurricularly, you also need to begin to get involved. And you're going, well, how do I do that? I've got all this homework and I'm doing my art area. So where's the time? Yeah, it's important for you to find some time to find some things that you're excited about, to join a club, an organization. Sometimes it can be related to your art area, but sometimes you need to be looking for some things outside of your art area to help show the world that you're not just a bassoon player or you're not just a dancer, that you have other things about you that you have interests. Some colleges and programs out there are really intent on finding versatile and well-rounded people who can get along with versatile and diverse people, right? And so if you are one note and you only do one thing, sometimes that can work against you. Sometimes it's a benefit, you know, for schools that are really looking for a violin player and they've practiced 8 hours a day and that's all they want. There might be somebody out there that really looks for just a violin player. But most places out there are looking for people and students that have a wide range of experiences. So looking at your extracurricular activities, getting involved for longevity, finding something you like where you can build some equity, have a leadership role by the time you get to your junior or senior year, those are things to think about. Simply realizing in your junior year that, you know, I didn't join any clubs, let me join 10 right now. That's not going to be real helpful in the application process 3 years from now, okay? And then community service, same thing as extracurricular, basically finding some passion, something you care about, some cause that you care about, and beginning to log some time around that cause. You know, doing lots of different things is great as well, but finding that one thing that really means something to you is helpful in especially the essay writing portion that happens in the summer of your junior year, going into your senior year. If you're able to talk passionately about something, that's helpful as well. So those are things to think about, and you're going, well, why do I need to think about that now? I'm just now getting to high school. Because before you know it, you'll be making the next big transition, and you will have wanted to have thought about this now, okay? So that's why we talk about it. So, about academics and credits. Basically, in the state of Texas, as of House Bill 5, you need 26 credits to graduate. Numbers of credits are not difficult at all to get in this building. You will have plenty of credits because you get 4 credits every year in your art area alone. And so there's no problem getting the number of credits. You just got to make sure you have all the right credits. And basically, it's a 4x4 program. You need 4 English, 4 math, 4 science, and 4 social studies, okay? So that's the core of your credits. And the science and social studies, there's some specifics that you have to have. Math, there's some specifics that you have to have. And that's where counselors will help you to make sure that you're taking the right things. And we'll get into some of that when we go to the actual course selection process. You need 2 years of the same foreign language. So you need 2 years of Spanish, 2 years of French. You can't take a year of Spanish and a year of French, and that makes your 2 years of credit. It's got to be the two years of the same credit of foreign language. You need 1 year of PE, and at HSPVA, we take that course online. I have a PE injury right here. So With the exception of our dancers get their PE credit through dance, which actually about 3 or 4 years ago, the state of Texas did not recognize dance as being a physical activity. Yes, and we wonder why we have school finance issues. But that changed, and our students are able to get their PE credit through dance if they're dancers. So everyone else takes it through an online process that we do, and we'll explain that more for 10th graders at the beginning of their 10th grade year. We do some meetings. It's not difficult. It's just something that we want to make sure we do. It's because of the nature of the program that we don't have time to build those courses into the schedule during the day. You also take a half credit of health. At PBA, again, we marry that health course into the biology class. So students, when they take biology here, are also getting health credit. Some of you, our upperclassmen, 10th and 11th graders, most likely have already taken biology. In your folders is a letter about how you can go ahead and take care of your health credit. You're going to have to do that on your own through an outside source. For those 10th and 11th graders who have already taken biology, and Ms. Hines is right in the back there. She's available after we get done with this meeting out in the Commons if you have any questions about how to sign up for one of those courses for 10th and 11th graders. We realize that some of our 8th graders have also taken biology in middle school. For those students, you'll have discussions next year during the 9th grade year with your counselors about the same process of when to take that. Most likely in the spring of your 9th grade year if you're doing well in your courses and want to take on an online course, or you would do it over the summer between your 9th and 10th grade year, again, through an online course. You will not take that course before you get here. We're trying to keep things even as far as students taking that health course in high school, so it all counts the same way as far as GPA and rank and all of those kinds of things. So we don't allow that course to be taken prior to getting here because not everyone has access to the ability to do that. So it has to happen after you've entered high school so that everyone's on the same page, okay? There's a senior capstone course that everyone takes at HSPBA. Basically, that course is a transition to life. Ms. Landry takes it. It's a combination of how the business of being an artist, how to sell yourself as an artist, how to manage your finances, how to do things that are all about your transition to the real world. And so some of it's art-centered, some of it's life-centered, and there's also a lot of college application support in that senior year through that class. In HISD and in the state of Texas, everyone is required to choose an endorsement when they come to high school. By coming to HSPBA, your primary endorsement is arts and humanities. Half of your day is around the arts. So that primary endorsement is arts and humanities. You will be able to, and many of our students do, pick up extra endorsements in STEM, in multicultural or multidisciplinary. So there's other ways to pick up additional endorsements, which are only a state of Texas thing. No one else in the world cares about them. It's just something that happens in the state of Texas. For those traditional high schools, it's about helping students have a pathway of electives to really understand that they're choosing something that's going to help them get to their next goal. That's why the endorsements exist. For us, by being a specialty campus, we're already building in the endorsement piece. So that's why that's happening. That's already chosen for you, okay? You'll take 5 EOC or end of course exams, English 1, English 2, Biology, Algebra 1, US History. That's the STAR stuff, right? And so those are the required exams to graduate from high school in the state of Texas. Everybody clear? Awesome. All right, so we're gonna go to some course review, some brief explanations of the courses offered on campus, and some things you need to be considering across those academic areas. So I believe we have Mr. Landry. You can do one at a time? Okay, Mr. Landry's first. So he's over science. Okay.
Hello, so thank you, Mr. Springfield. He kind of did this big overview, and you're probably kind of like, well, there's a lot to think about. After this, all the academic teachers will be out there to discuss any questions that you have about your particular courses. So just kind of summarize, the main question that parents always have when they come in is pre-AP versus academic level classes. How do I know which one to take? Really hitting on what Mr. Springfield said, if you know that you're passionate about a particular topic, maybe take pre-AP in that area, because if you care about it, you're willing to take on that extra challenge. If you're saying, well, I really like science a whole bunch because it's the best, but I'm really not a huge fan of some other course, then maybe you make your pre-AP happen in science. In those other courses, not that they're not as important to learn, but you can then focus your time on the things that you care about, your arts, and then your science course that you're focusing on. So that's kind of the big picture way to approach it. So a few just kind of talking points that I jotted down. You received an email from Mr. Klein that outlined what all the courses were that we kind of offered with some general stuff. If you didn't see that, let Mr. Klein know or just check your email to see. I'm also the Sustainability Club sponsor, so we're trying to cut down on paper, to save the planet. But definitely look online for that document. Sorry to mention that where to find us. So for me, just talking about biology in particular, since most of you coming in as freshmen, and also chemistry, the main difference between your academic and pre-AP courses is going to be the amount of reading that you're expected to do. In a pre-AP course, outside of class, you're going to be asked to do some outside reading to come in with some comprehension of that. Where in an academic class, you most likely will be completing most of the readings and explorations within the class time because we're trying to respect time outside of class. Similarly, late policies are slightly different in terms of if you're in a pre-AP class, you might a little bit more strict in terms of these things need to be getting in at a certain time, or for academic, there's a little bit more flexibility there. And probably another big difference is the pace. In a pre-AP course, because it's challenging not just because we're covering the same content, but we're covering more. Well, to cover more content, we need to go a little bit faster in order to get to each of those different topics. So if you kind of think about it big picture, if every class you're taking is a pre-AP class, everything's going fairly quickly and you don't have a place where you can breathe. Versus if you have a couple AP or pre-AP and a couple academic classes, you're able to kind of ebb and flow with your schedule. So that overall is kind of the feeling for science. It's not that one has more labs, less labs. Maybe the critical thinking components are different in each one, but it's not that you're learning less biology in one class or more chemistry in another class. You're learning all the topics. It's whether or not you want to keep digging deeper in that particular area. So again, I'll be outside afterwards with the other teachers, but I'm going to now invite Mr. McComas from the math department up to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dan McComas.
Good morning. I'm Ms. Wynn.
And we're representing the math department. And what Mr. Landry said about the differences between pre-AP and academic are fairly true for the math department as well. Here are just a few things about our department. One of the differences will be the depth of the topics and the pacing. That'll be a little bit quicker in your pre-AP class versus your academic class. Also, it's really important in math to have knowledge of previous math topics. That's really crucial, especially for pre-AP, because they really won't have the time to go back and review a lot of those fundamental topics. Whereas in your academic classes, there's a little bit more time built in for those types of things. Then finally, really just the amount of studying and homework outside of class that would be required for each of the courses. Many students come in, they might be taking Algebra 1. Algebra 1 doesn't have a pre-AP component, it's just Algebra 1. But some of you might be coming into geometry where you might have either an academic or a pre-AP geometry. Some students come in and they take Algebra 2. That also has an academic versus a pre-AP component. So those, and then we have other classes beyond that, pre-calculus and other things for later on. Again, we'll be outside. If you do have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those, and have a great morning. And next, we're going to have Senior Alarcon represent the Foreign Language Department.
Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to HSPVA. Again, my name is Miguel Alarcón. I represent the World Languages Department. We offer Spanish and French, levels 1, 2, and 3 for French, and levels 1 through 4 in Spanish. Because of the arts, and you know that we have to work together with the different art areas, what we do is offer Spanish 1 and 2 for French and Spanish are considered our academic levels. 3, it's immediately a pre-AP. So you can start imagining that it's a quite intense course. And then we also have the AP, which is definitely the most advanced course where the students are prepared as well for the AP exam. Is not the main goal in our class. Definitely the main goal is that the students improve, that become as fluent as possible in both languages. Native speakers are encouraged to take the challenge of learning another language, definitely, which is French, so we can expand their knowledge much more. There is something very important that I also would like to say. Many of you in 9th grade especially, you come with credit because some of you have been taking or are taking right now Spanish, or you're getting credit for it. And I want just to insist and clarify that sometimes coming with the credit doesn't necessarily imply that the student has the knowledge. So Mr. Klein is sharing some information with you just to give you a general idea, like a mini test right there, so we can give the student a good taste of what they will expect. Have a conversation with your kids and realize, do you feel strong enough to be in level 2 now that you have credit for level 1? If the answer is no, we strongly recommend that you consider coming, just step back and take level 1. We want you to feel very strong in our classes, to feel confident in language, and not just be in the situation that probably some of you have experienced and you say right now, as adults and professionals, regretting not having paying attention in class, and that you can answer only this question when they say, do you speak Spanish? Un poquito. And that's all you do. So we want your kids to make that difference and become, again, as fluent as possible. And it all starts with confidence, and we want them to feel confident in our course. Therefore, it's important, again, to have that conversation. We also have, at the beginning of the school year, what we call the placement test. And that is the diagnostic test will give you, as a student, a very good idea what you will see. Some of you are strong students and say, I didn't do very well, but I know I'm a hard worker and I will be able to catch up. But some others, that's where you have to look at yourself in the mirror after you say how looking you are, and then say, maybe I'm not that strong and I will just go back and take Spanish 1, it's not going to hurt me, or take level 2 and it's not going to hurt me. There is the word requirement there, and that's something that we also want to take out of the students' minds. Yes, that's very important. The grade is necessary and it's important. But what is more important is the passion that you, and all the opportunities that you can get in life if you learn a second language or even a third language. All right? So once again, welcome to HSPBA, and now let me introduce Ms. Karakosh with the English department. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kulsum Karakoch, and I'm the English department chair and the primary freshman English teacher. We may have somebody else join us part-time for a few classes. I'm just going to start off with a basic mission statement about the English department and then tell you the difference between English 1 academic and English 1 pre-AP/honors. If you don't know this, the pre-AP word may not be used in the future. We might change it to honors later. So if you see that change, don't be surprised. So the mission of the Kinder HSBVA's English department is to foster a love of literacy. Reading and writing are, of course, essential aspects to our curriculum. What you can expect from the English department are teachers who are passionate about diversifying the standard curriculum, who appreciate the classics, and who foster a love for student expression, both in the form of writing and in class discussions. English 1 academic, or on level, is a structured class where students can expect about 30 minutes to 1 hour of homework per week. Most work is done in class, most reading in class as well. Writing will be process-based with an emphasis on planning and drafting. English 1 pre-AP/honors is a class that emphasizes analysis in order to prepare for the AP language class in grade 11 or your junior year, or AP literature your 12th grade year. Students will work on dissecting language for deeper meaning, so you can expect us looking at diction and figurative language just in a more depthful way. Work may be largely independent, with a total of 1 to 2 hours of homework per week. That's all I've got to say. May the 4th be with you. And here is Miss Chase from the Humanities Department. Oh, sorry.
Good morning, everybody. So happy to see you all. My name is Jennifer Langkow Chase. I am the chair of the Social Science or Social Studies department, but I think it's also fun for you to know that I have a graduating senior here at HSPVA and an incoming freshman sitting out there somewhere. And so I can speak to you as a parent as well, and sometimes that's really helpful. I think what you need to remember for social studies is it's going to be different than middle school. Sophomore year will be your first chance to take a true AP course at Kinder HSPVA. It is the AP World History course. So that means I have a year to get your student from a middle school level to possibly a collegiate level of study in humanities. And so our academic on-level class is meant to be a high school class. I can accomplish what I need to do within our class period. There's very little homework, maybe 30 minutes a week when you're finishing up some assignments that you didn't get to during class. But for our pre-AP or honors, whatever that ends up being with the College Board, it is different. We have an entirely different curriculum. We read a monograph for a book instead of a textbook with a very high level of vocabulary. And we're expecting your student, just like in college, to read that book outside of class and come to school with a high level of comprehension so we can spend class time writing and analyzing and practicing written analysis. It's a geopolitical class. We will talk about things that some people consider controversial, like climate change or the migration of hominins out of Africa. It's a wide-ranging and great course. Both of them are. It really depends on your time and your interest and your commitment. I always tell parents that most all of your students can be successful in a higher level class if they're willing to put the time in. It's not about intelligence, it's about their passion, which makes them want to spend extra time on it. And I think the last thing as a parent that I think is helpful for you to know and to understand is that when you take an advanced course at HSPVA, that is a GPA grade bump, and Mr. Travis Springfield will speak a little more about that. So if you're used to getting an A in middle school social studies, that level of effort is going to get you a B in an advanced class here at HSPVA, because to get an A, that means you're doing more to get above a 4.0. So that's something to consider as well. Again, everybody can be successful, but if your student doesn't love social studies, but they do love science, Mr. Landry, maybe you try and give them some space in those classes they're not as passionate about, so they can spend that time on the things they love and their art area, which is, the point of the school. So again, all of the academic teachers will be out in the commons, and we're happy to talk to you about individual concerns or if you have specific questions. And we're so grateful to see you all this morning, and welcome.
All right, so lots of information, right? Some good things just to kind of pick out of all of that are that there are really two types of classes: academic, and then what we call pre-AP right now, and but that's possible that those will become labeled as honors classes. There's some changes from the College Board, who runs the advanced placement program, about what's required for classes to be labeled pre-AP. So that's kind of why there may be some shifts. We say AP a lot. How many people know what AP is? Raise your hand. Okay, most of you do. All right, advanced placement is what AP means. And basically that College Board, the same people who do the SAT exam, create these AP exams that usually in your junior, senior year, there's an end of course exam that's a national kind of way of showing your expertise and being compared to students across the nation. So it is a part of the college application process for selective colleges, is to compare those AP scores. It's one of the numbers that people look at, just to kind of put things into perspective, since students from an inner city school in Houston to a private school in the East Coast to an overseas school are all having different school experiences, and tests like the SAT, AP exams, subject tests, those kinds of things are a way to compare apples to oranges across the country and the world when people are applying to college. So that's what AP is about. It makes sense? And it's a much more challenging coursework that requires a lot more work from students to be involved in. So that's what AP is. GPA for students is attached to whether a course is academic or pre-AP honors or AP. Students get 1 extra point for being in those more rigorous coursework. So an A in a regular academic class is worth 4 points. If you're in a pre-AP honors AP class, those would be worth 5 points if you got an A. And then a B is worth 3 and 4, a C is worth 2 and 3, etc. Right? So if you're in an AP class and making a B, that's as good as being in a regular class making an A. So usually for us, the benchmark for whether or not an AP, pre-AP honors class is the smart way to go is if you're making a B or better. Because basically you wouldn't be doing any worse by sitting in the academic class making an A, as long as you're able to balance all of that work and be happy and healthy, right? So that's really what it's all about, is balance. Your individual journey, and I'm going to say that a lot, your individual journey is about you as a student and you as parents who know what your student is going through at home, is having a happy, healthy experience here. This is a school that has its own set of criteria to be successful. Not all students remain here from year to year. Occasionally students are unable to manage all of the things being asked of them, and sometimes students just aren't being successful. And a lot of that has to do with that planning piece, knowing how much to take on. Taking on too much and not being successful and not kind of realizing that and making changes can lead to students really not being successful. And our ultimate goal in HISD is to graduate students from high school. And that's our responsibility as educators. And if that means that we need to recommend that you go to another school because you can't manage all of the things being asked of you here, that sometimes happens for a handful of students. To prevent that from happening, we need you to be honest with yourselves about what you can manage, what you can do, and not worry what's happening about students around you. It's time to begin to be your own individual person. Don't worry that your best friend is taking 5 AP classes. That's your best friend. Let them not sleep. You can sleep, but do what's right for you. That's ultimately. We don't know how much you're dancing outside of the school day. We don't know how much you get into your artwork and spend 3 hours to fix one line that's never right for you, because I know people are out there like that, right? So, but you as parents know how much your child is being pulled in how many directions, and you have to help them at this point be that guide in making those decisions. All right, that's what it's really about. Happy, healthy, and here. Okay. All right, so you are not going to do this yet, but I'm going to walk you through a Google form that you're going to receive a link to at the end of the presentation where you're going to do your course selection. All righty? So you're going to get an email directly from Mr. Klein with this link, so you don't need to travel to it or anything. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go in there and we are going to walk you through it. Also, you're only going to submit this once. If you submit it twice, that's a lot of classes that you have to take. All right, so we're going to gather some contact information from you just to have it all in one place. We already have it, but as counselors are working with this information, it's easier to have it just in the same spreadsheet. So you're going to have your email address, the student last name, the student legal first name, not nicknames, so that we're able to find you in the system, right? Your grade level for next year, you're going to indicate that. And you're going to indicate your art area, again, so that we're able to really identify you if we're having questions and things like that. So all the art areas should be on here. Okay? We're also going to capture some special needs type things so that if you're a student who receives accommodations or things like that in your previous school, we want to be able to capture that and make sure that we communicate with you as we move into next year so that you're getting the services that you should. So if you've received special education services, 504, English language learner services, anything like that, we want to make sure that you've communicated that. And you may already have communicated this before, but it's another way to make sure that we're not missing anybody. All right. So just in case we need to get hold of a parent, enter a guardian contact, email, and phone for at least one parent or guardian. Okay? All right. So you're going to select an English course. All right? And English is basically you have two choices for in our building. You're either going to be taking an academic level course or you're going to be taking the pre-AP, AP, or what we may be calling honors level of that course. There's only two choices. So you're going to think about what you've been in previously and make that choice when you get to that section. Alrighty? And we'll put you in the appropriate English for your grade level. So English 1 are 9th graders, English 2 are sophomores, English 3 is juniors, right? So you don't need to worry about 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. We'll take care of that. So that's simple. Simplest one. Social studies. Okay, so 4 social studies are required in the state of Texas. World geography, world history, U.S. history, and then a semester of economics paired with a semester of government. So Those happen in an order for most students: world geography, freshman year; history, sophomore; world history, sophomore; U.S. history, junior; and then in the senior year is when we do government and economics, okay? Occasionally someone may be off because they've taken something in middle school or they took something out of order. That's an exception. For most of you guys incoming as freshmen, you're going to choose between world geography academic or the pre-AP version, right, or honors. So you can see there the choices. For your grade level, you're going to choose either the academic or the more rigorous accelerated course. Okay? And then science is a little complicated. So science requires 4 courses as well. In the state of Texas, the IPC course that some people take in middle school can count towards your 4 credits. So IPC, biology, chemistry, and physics would be your 4 math science classes, and you could take extra stuff if you wanted to later on. But pretty much the state of Texas requires biology, chemistry, and physics. The 4th science is an elective science. Like I said, sometimes it's front-loaded, sometimes it comes in later on in the science spectrum. So it's just depending on where it is that you pick up that extra science course. Some students do it early, some students do more than the science is required. But for most of you guys, you're choosing between biology academic or biology pre-AP/honors, okay? And then there's the other science classes there for those of you who are 10th and 11th graders, incoming 10th and 11th graders. And if there's questions about any of these academic courses, the teachers are going to be available in the comments. We're asking if you already took a biology class, just so we're making sure about that health credit to be able to circle back around and talk with you about and make sure that we're covering that. Again, for those current or incoming 10th and 11th graders, there's a letter in your folders about options to get that taken care of over the summertime. For those current 8th graders, rising 9th graders who maybe have biology now, we'll be talking with you about that during the 9th grade year, and we'll take care of it in the spring of 9th grade or over the summer. You won't be doing it before you come to high school. All right, so math. Math is, everybody's a little bit different because some folks have done math classes in middle school for high school credit. Many of you are in Algebra 1 right now. Some of you are sitting in geometry right now. There's maybe a handful even doing Algebra 2 right now because middle school has decided that they want to be high school. Don't know why. So math can be very, very different depending on who you are. All of these are about levels, whether you do pre-AP, honors, or academic level for math. There is no pre-AP version of algebra at the high school level for HSPVA. So we're assuming that students that were strong in math are taking Algebra 1 already in middle school. So Algebra 1 for us is really an academic level course only for students that are starting that algebra journey. So right now we have some electives at the high AP Stats and AP Calculus and as options after pre-cal. If there's someone who is up that far, some of our juniors and stuff may be that far already, so things to look at. So your 5th academic class, you have 4 courses during the school day that are during your schedule that are art area classes. You're not choosing anything about your art area. The art area programming is decided for you by your art area folks. You don't have choice in that, okay? You are placed in the courses that the art areas feel are right for you. And for most freshmen, which are the majority of you, it's a set group of courses that you're taking that are basically blocked together where the art area does a lot of different things within those blocks. So don't worry about art area at all. But to finish out your schedule, you're going to pick your 5th academic class. For most of you, you're finishing out your foreign language, okay? So you're figuring out what level of language that we're going to be in. Just like Mr. Alacon said, you know, sometimes the middle school languages may not prepare you best for high school, and you have to be honest with yourself about how much you really learn Spanish and French to know what level you want to take, and it's okay to repeat a level if you feel like you haven't got a good foundation. The same can be true for algebra. If you feel like your algebra class in middle school that you're currently in is not really teaching you enough, it would maybe be worth you retaking it in high school just to make sure you understand it, because everything is built on that class. You can't do well in Algebra 2 if you had a lousy Algebra 1 experience, okay? So just be aware of that and think about that knowing your own circumstances right now. You can start in classes and try to shift. It's harder to do that. I know our students don't like to start in a schedule and then mix it up, but it happens all the time. But there's room. We build the schedule based on essential numbers, initial numbers, and so at some point we may not have room to try to move kids around in the fall. So try to be good about picking the correct courses now, so you reserve that spot for you, but know that we understand there may be some shifting, okay? So you'll choose your foreign language. If there's something that you really need to share with counselors, you could do that in the spreadsheet here, but we're also gonna be up here on the stage. Ms. Lark, waiting here, is the other counselor on campus, and myself will be up here to answer counseling specific questions, or if you wanted some guidance about something. But if it's course specific, like I really don't know about science, I'm not the guy to talk to about science, right? Ms. Lark is not the person to talk about science. Mr. Landry is. He's gonna give you the insight about science, right? So they'll be in the commons, and you can walk around out there and talk to the teachers that you want to, and then if you still have questions, you can come in here. We're gonna have you line up along that wall to see the counselors and just kind of treat it like DMV, and you'll do the next one. Much better experience though. And you'll just come in and then go back out if you need to. So you may start in different places. Mr. Klein's gonna walk you through some things when we actually get ready. Before you leave today though, you must do this survey and hit submit. You must. We've got to start building schedules. We have to start thinking about how many courses we need, sections we need. We have to capture these numbers today, okay? So that's really important. Make sense? All right, excellent. So the PGP form. The other big thing that we have to do is this is in your folders. This little form is a Texas state requirement. It's a personal graduation form. And basically, it used to be where we would plan out what you were taking. The form has shifted to be more of a credit check. So as you finish courses, we're going to check off that you've done them. So we're not completing any of this anymore ahead of time. We do it as courses are completed. So we'll review transcripts once we get them all and give you any credit for things from middle school. And then at the end of each year, they'll be reviewed and we'll give credits. What we really need you guys to do is fill in a career interest in that top box up there. Don't stress about this. It can change. We don't need you to know exactly what you want to do. It can be very general. I want to be a performer. I want to do something in visual arts. I'm interested in theater. You don't have to say that I want to be a Broadway performer, or I want to be a contemporary music artist, or I want to be a sculptor. You can be that specific, but you don't have to be. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a veterinarian, you can do all kinds of things, whatever, but put something there. And at the bottom, we need to capture a student signature and a parent signature. This is going to go in a box out by the box office in the front lobby. And there'll be a box out there that you'll put this in. So you cannot leave with this either, because this becomes a document that we have to be audited on and keep for 4 years. All right? So that's important. 30 seconds. Take this out of your folder. 30 seconds. Take it out of your folder. It's the green sheet. It's the only colored sheet in the folder. And you are going to pick a career interest that just right now, today, in your heart, you think you want to do. Don't think about it. Just write down what you think today. It can change tomorrow. It can change next year. Don't stress about that. Right. Gotcha. So if you don't have both a parent and student here, say a parent's here for a student or a student's here without their parent, sign whatever signature you can sign and turn it in with the blank signature in the other spot. We'll follow up in the fall to capture the signature that we don't have, but we want the piece of paper. So if you are here on your own, without a parent, student, just sign in the student space. If you're a parent without a student, sign in the parent space. Hold on to it and you'll put it in the box outside. Everyone has signed their life away and they know what they're doing. Ha, you can't change. Just kidding. I'm kidding. You can change. I'm just playing. But, and that's okay. And like I said, we're gonna meet with students annually and we'll make adjustments to this as students change their minds, which will happen. Today, you may want to be a race car driver. 2 years from now, you'll be something else. Okay, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's complete. Awesome. So, just quick questions. Can I take a course off campus to get ahead? No, we don't do courses off campus at HSPVA anymore. Students are not allowed to take anything that's a graduation requirement off campus. They may take an elective course not required for graduation, but those courses do not count in GPA calculations. There are exceptions if there's a language that you started in middle school, like Italian or German or something, and we don't offer it, Chinese, for example, and we don't offer that here. You can get approval to take that course and continue in that language off campus to finish out your language requirement because we don't offer it, and that would count in your GPA, okay? There are other extenuating circumstances where someone's off target to graduate where we may approve things, or special circumstances, but really special circumstances. The reasoning behind this is that we began to see that students and parents became hyper-focused on GPA and rank, and it began to be a race to how many courses can I take in the summertime to boost my GPA and pull ahead and get that valedictorian spot. But everybody can't afford to pay $3,000, $4,000 in off-campus credits, and that's just not a fair way of working the system. So if you want to take a course off campus for your own knowledge and skills, more power to you, but it's not going to be about a GPA race, okay? We're not going to do that. Just so you know, parents, for rank, HSPVA does not report rank to colleges except for students who request it because we're more like a private school than a public school, and most private schools do not report rank because you can be a kid with a 4.0 and be ranked like 80 at this school, probably. So we just don't report rank. So we'll talk more about that as it gets closer and more relevant to you, but just know going into the process that we don't report rank. Your GPA is still seen, and GPAs are important, but that whole rank race, we're trying to get out of that, beat the Joneses kind of approach to school. Middle school courses on all of HSD do not count towards high school GPA. They do count toward high school credit. Used to, campuses all did their own thing. HISD came to a district-wide policy about 2 years ago. So your courses will count, but they do not, for credit, but they do not count in GPA. All right? So what's next? You're going to complete that Google form when you get the email. Mr. Klein will tell you when it's going to be in your inbox. You will turn in your signed HISD, PGP to the box office outside. Counselors will be up here. Holly and I, Ms. Lark and I will be up here. You can start at the line on that side, and you'll come across stage and go back off when you're done. If you need to see a counselor to talk to them, if you need to see academic department representatives, they're in the commons. So if this line is long, go talk to someone out there, or do something else and then come back, because we don't want you to wait in line unless you really need to. And again, you don't have to wait in line to see us. There's not a requirement to see Ms. Lark or myself. It's really only if you really need to ask a question, need some advice that you can't get from the academic folks. Don't feel like you have to stand in this line, okay? It's just really your choice. So hopefully you had some good information today. I know it was a lot. I tried to go through it quickly, but hopefully it's good in helping you think about how to approach this transition to Kinder HSPVA. It's a great experience. It's a great place to be. We welcome you, and I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Springfield. So right now, I'm the only thing in between you and ice cream. So I'm going to try to get through this really quickly. Over the summer, everybody at HSPVA has a summer reading book, and some courses have summer homework. Most freshman classes do not have any homework. So you don't have summer homework, you don't have to worry about that, but everybody is still required to do summer reading. In the next 2 weeks, you will get contact information from me with specific links on how to sign up for a summer reading book. Every teacher picks a different one, and you get to sign up for the one that you like, except if it fills up, and then you'll have to go to school, and then you'll have to choose something else. Please don't contact me before asking, well, we're leaving for vacation on March 20th, and you haven't sent it yet, and we need to buy all our books. I promise I'll send it as soon as it's ready, okay? School supplies. Our PTO is amazing. They're amazing, and they are amazing. And they run our school store, and they run our school supplies. They do a great job of making sure they make it easy for you. If you sign up for school supplies, We give them your schedule so they know exactly what course you're taking, even if it has to change at the last minute. They know. They prepare everything for you so that when you show up at Artist Academy, which we'll talk about, all you have to do is pick it up, and it's all packed and ready for you. So they'll be sending you, and I will be sending you an email with instructions for that. And please, our teachers right now are trying to finish out this year with our current students. And then after that, they are off for the summer, and they all deserve those 2 months off. So please don't contact them directly. I work through almost the end of June, and I'll continue to be able to answer your questions through then. Should I buy a laptop for my student? No. HISD provides every high school student with a laptop. There are no more physical textbooks. All of the textbooks are online. We provide that to you, and you'll also pick that up during registration at Artist Academy. We'll send you information about that. I think there's a $25 fee that you pay at the beginning of the year. It's basically insurance in case anything happens to it. You get it the first day of school, and you give it back to us as soon as you're done with it at the end of school. So that's an amazing thing that HISD offers. Transportation, a lot of questions about transportation. I took a poll of our students, and right now, here's how they get to school. A lot of people were nervous when we moved downtown that things were going to be very difficult. I think if you ask a current parent, they'll tell you it is very smooth, much smoother than we thought it was going to be, which was great. Really excited about, if you know HISD and the magnet school bus issues, we're not in charge of that. The school district's in charge of that. Still about 21% of our kids take it in the morning, and 28% take it home. I'll talk about that in a second. And we've been I'm from New York, and I love public transportation, and I know public transportation here hasn't always been great. But getting here by public transportation, by metro, is so wonderful that we have that opportunity. We're right in between two rail lines. We're a few blocks from Main Street that, if you need to take a bus that lives near you, we have Linda. Linda, can you stand up? This is Linda Trevino from Metro. She's out in the lobby with another colleague, and they can sign you up for a student card, which gets you 50% off the fare, which means about 60 cents each way if you're taking Metro. And she's also going to talk to you about a program where from June 1st to the beginning of school, it is completely free for students to use Metro. A lot of our parents over the break before we moved in actually practiced taking Metro to see what it was like with their students. Did it a couple times, and so if you're concerned about it, I think you'll see it's a lot easier than you might anticipate. So they'll be outside. For bus information, if you think you're going to use a school bus, you filled out a survey for me. You need to tell me that you're requesting information. I will then provide that to the district, and then I'm done. And then the district at some point will mail you a card very close to the beginning of the school year telling you, here's where your stop is and here what time it is. You can ask me a million questions about buses, about HISD buses. They're the only ones who'll be able to answer those. So just be patient when it comes to them. I already talked about this. You saw that a lot of our students get picked up and dropped off by a parent, a friend, a relative. We'll give you those specific instructions about the process to make it easier for everybody. We'll give that to you at Artist Academy. And then parking permits. Sorry, but nobody in this room is going to have a parking permit next year. We have 2 floors of parking underneath this building. This is the orchestra pit, actually, that I'm standing on right now. So it can go all the way to the first floor of the garage. That's where students park. We have about 100 spots, and they have a lottery to determine which seniors will get that. And unfortunately, that's all we have for students. So when you get to your senior year, maybe you'll have a parking permit on site. We'll also give you information about partners that we have in the neighborhood. I think a lot of you have been parking across the street. We have a great relationship with them, and it's probably not due to the fact that the manager of the garage had a daughter who graduated from PVA. So we're very lucky that he's been able to accommodate us. In the lobby is going to be Ms. Hines. Ms. Hines, can you give a big wave? Ms. Hines is our registrar. She's going to be following up with a lot of you about if you, especially for our students who are joining us from not HISD. She's going to be following up and making sure you get all of the information she needs as soon as possible. But for everybody here, the minute you have your final report card, you're going to email that to me, mail it to us, fax it to us, or drop it off for us so that we can make sure that you're in the right classes in terms of credits for the beginning of next year. Okay? And so you'll get information from her. She'll also be in the lobby if you have any questions about credits or transcripts. She'll be the one you could talk to. We announced last week to our new students, to our current students, that we have 2 big, huge productions that happen on this stage. One of them in October is Mary Poppins. I'm really excited about that, where Mary will be flying. Mary will be flying on this stage. We're going to show off this amazing new theater and the technical capabilities of it. And then in February, we're going to be doing The Color Purple, the musical of The Colored Purple. These are all school musicals open to any student in any department. Unfortunately, new students aren't able to be in Mary Poppins because auditions are in 2 weeks, so that's only for returning students. But if you want to be involved in in Mary Poppins, there'll be ways for you to be involved behind the scenes, and that information will be provided to you at the beginning of the year. Everybody should come see these 2 shows. They are amazing. They're going to be amazing. So right after this, in the Commons, the school nurse, we are so lucky. We have had a nurse here for the past 3 years who is an alum, a parent of alum, and she's moving out of town, and so we're sad but happy for her. But we hired an amazing new school nurse. She's currently the school nurse at Milby, and she is also the parent of an alum. She's the parent of an alum of PVA. So she knows what you're going through. Nurse Jordan, can you just raise your hand and wave? We're so excited to have her. She'll also be out in the lobby and can answer questions if you have them about health. You'll also get emailed documents from me in the first week of August that you'll need to bring with you to orientation, and a lot of that is for the nurse, immunization records, a health inventory form, and other things. You can also, I love that we host 5 foreign exchange students every year. They just bring something really great to the campus. Next year we have 5 that are joining us. We already have host families for 4 of them. So we are just looking for a host family for Gaspar, who is a guitar player from Portugal. So if you're interested, Anna Eastman is right here. She'll be outside and can answer any questions about that program. She has been a host parent. She is a parent of a current student, of an alum, and other students that have gone here. So she's also a great resource if you have any questions. And we also have some students that'll have iPads in case when I send this link, and you know why I don't send you the link before, because you wouldn't have listened to a word any of us had said. You'd be already picking your courses. I'm a former teacher, so I know that that's what you'd be doing. So as soon as I press that link, if you don't get it, if you're having any issues, there'll be iPads out there that you can use. On the second floor, our amazing PTO has school store. You guys wiped them out at signing day. You wiped them out, so they're restocked. So I was talking into this. So they have water bottles back. They have these amazing new T-shirts that were actually designed by us by Downtown Houston's marketing department. You might see this on a billboard that Downtown Houston might be promoting. And they also have these great sweatshirts with the metallic lettering. Do you see the glitter? Yes. Hello? Oh, there you go. I will wrap up. You also got a PTO newsletter in your envelope, and if you want to join the PTO, they're upstairs also. Now, the PTO has also bought every new student in this building a ice cream cone. Everybody see that little blue ticket that's on the front? There is a ice cream truck in the front. Thank you, Blanca. So you get a scoop of ice cream and a topping also. Mine's melting. I'm the head of the theater department is going to yell at me for having food inside the Denny. So that little blue ticket will get you an ice cream cone after you've completed your course selection and dropped off your PGP. If you have brothers or sisters, or if you have parents that want to do it, you're going to have to buy your own, and the PTO is selling them for $2 if you want to buy your own cone. Okay, it's an amazing ice cream truck. The next time we'll see all of you is on August 16th. Parents in the morning, everybody will get some information. Parents will meet with their art department, so you'll be able to ask them questions. They'll tell you what to expect for the year. And then students meet with their departments, and then also get a chance to meet other students who are new, and then some of our returning students also. And thank you. Have a great day. If you have anything else, I'll also be outside there answering any questions. We're so excited to have you. Have a great day.